Welcome to an overview on the xDM server. We would like to take this opportunity to thank you for choosing Mentor Graphics to meet your electronic design automation needs. The xDM server is an application server provided from the System Design Division that provides a new framework for advanced integrated product development. In this short video, I would like to give you a high-level overview on the xDM server. We will touch base on the installation, the configuration and deployment of the xDM server, as well as the maintenance, diagnostics, and even troubleshooting. Let's start with the requirements. You can deploy the xDM server on Windows or Linux OS. These platforms also support the desktop clients. You should select a 64-bit server class system to host the xDM server with 4 cores at a minimum. The recommendation is to have a network capacity of 1 GB per second. Aside from hardware, there are 2 factors that will impact the performance of the xDM server: the number of client applications accessing the xDM server and the largest expected size of the PCB design. If, for example, you estimate 100 client applications accessing the xDM server simultaneously, then we recommend 32 GB of RAM. Here is a typical supported use case for EEVX.1. xDM Design and xDM Library are client applications accessing the xDM server. The administrator has a full set of utilities to manage and monitor the xDM server. Use the Mentor Graphics 64-bit installation media to install the xDM server and the supported products. The EEVX.1 release provides 2 products that can be deployed on the xDM server: the xDM Design Services and the xDM Library Server Integration. Selecting either one of them will automatically select the System Utilities toolbox and the xDM server. On a client machine, the users will want to install xDM Design and/or xDM Library desktop applications. The system utilities are a collection of command line utilities which provide all the tools required to manage an xDM server, including utilities for configuration, deployment, server and data management, security, and diagnostics. The following diagram illustrates the installation and deployment flow of the xDM server. Once you finish with step 1 to install the xDM server utilities and products, you can simply go with the default configuration and run server deploy utility as seen on the left side. If instead you prefer to customize the configuration, you should first create an XML file containing your configurations and then import the configuration by using the config import utility. Now that you run server deploy, the server will be deployed with your customized configuration. The easiest way to learn about the customization options is by using the sample input XML files delivered to the SUT documentation sample input XMLs directory. Let's scan a few of the options. You can configure secure SSL communication between the clients and the server. You can define LDAP and SMTP to be used by the xDM server. You can define the ports to be utilized by the xDM server and the user that will run the xDM processes. You can define using an Oracle database instead of the embedded database. I encourage you to review the samples and use them as a template for your needs. Here is a list of the configuration utilities. These utilities will help you customize your configuration in order to successfully deploy the xDM server. Let's review the deployment utilities within the System Utilities toolbox. Server Deploy is the main utility used for deploying the xDM server. In a similar way, you use server undeploy to undeploy the XDM server and server update to update the server with new configuration or new software. You can also stop, start and restart the server, as well as put the server in maintenance mode, which will prevent end users from accessing the server but will enable you to perform maintenance operations. At the end of a successful deployment of the XDM server, you get the URL and the port information that client used to communicate with the XDM server. Here, I'm using the XDM Design Client application to log into the XDM server. While from a browser, I can use this URL to connect to the portal. The diagnostic utilities provide a wide range of options and tools for the IT professional to monitor and manage the XDM server. Here is a list of the diagnostic utilities. These are command line utilities that you run in a Linux terminal or a Windows console. You use the diag pre-deploy test to check the configuration and the settings before you start with the deployment. Diag server status will provide you with a full overview of the server status once it is deployed. If you run into a problem, you have the diag troubleshooter to help you find a resolution and suggest possible solutions to help you fix it. As you can see from the list, there are many more diagnostic utilities for you to use. Now I would like to show you a special utility. The diag dashboard is the only utility that provides a graphical user interface. Instead of running each utility from a command line, you have the option to run the diag dashboard, which will gather the information from many other diagnostic utilities and will present them in a web page. In the Home tab, you have a summary of the status and the settings, including a visual timeline of the server events. While on the Dashboard tab, you have different widgets that focus in a specific area, such as, for example, the XDM server uptime or the backup status. The Performance tab enables monitoring information about the performance of the XDM server host machine. The last set of utilities that I would like to share with you is the management utilities, as seen here on the left. With these utilities, you can run backup and restore of the XDM server, you can change the password of the server user, and clean the logs from the disk. In this all-in-one video, we wanted to give you a glimpse of the XDM server. We started with the hardware and software requirements, as well as the supported use case for EEVX.1. We went through the installation process of the XDM server, the system utilities, and the supported products. We exposed the System Utilities toolbox. Within this toolbox, you can find all the utilities needed for you to successfully configure, deploy, and manage the XDM server. We also reviewed the diagnostics utilities, which will support you to continuously monitor the XDM server and troubleshoot problems if such might occur. If you would like to focus more on a specific topic, please use the other videos that we prepared especially for that.